So I just wanted to share, I just posted like the newest video up on Instagram, and the caption, the copy for it, made me just kind of start thinking. So it's about, we tell kids to learn, so it says, we tell kids to sit still to learn, then we send them somewhere else to move. But what if we separated two things that were never meant to be apart? Movement isn't just movement, it's an opportunity to think, remember, wait, adjust, and grow. And then, so that got me thinking, because we send kids to school and we say, sit still at these desks all day long. Okay? And some teachers are better than others at giving them centers and things like that, but I only remember one teacher from my entire elementary experience who had centers. I remember one, and that was in second grade. After that, we were just at desks. And yes, maybe we moved to, be in groups at our desks, but there was nothing like that. So we have kids go to this location, sit still, and we say learning, this is how you learn. You sit still and you listen. Mm-hmm. And you don't talk, you just listen to the teacher, but if she asks you a question, you answer back. But this is how you learn. Now, they come home and you're like, my kid has all this energy. I need to send them somewhere to burn that energy so that they can go back to that building and sit still and learn. And my like aha light bulb moment when I was telling you this and putting this up is, what if that energy that we're sending them somewhere, we're acting like energy is like a byproduct or like a waste product, and that you have to burn that off in order to learn. Mm-hmm. But what if energy and movement, right? Energy and movement. What if that energy is the source of their learning? What we're doing is we're sending them someplace and we're wasting it, like factory smoke. We're burning it off, and then we're saying, now go back to that box. Now your energy is gone, like that bad energy that gets in your way. Go back to that box and sit and learn. Like, when I explain it like that, it seems so simple. What if we're doing that? What if we're wasting energy that could be best put towards movement? There was the one study from last week that they combined, it was language arts, but they combined the learning of this concept with movement. And then they had another group that just learned the concept, another group that just did movement but didn't learn the concept, and they had a control group. And the group that did both together had bigger gains. They learned the material better. They had better test scores than the class that did just the learning alone without the movement.
I believe it. So, like Tony Robbins, before he does his things, he does that jumping.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he gets on a trampoline.
Can you
and jumps
explain
up and down.
that? I mean, have you seen that concept or that understanding in your class of like what it does for the brain and movement in the brain?
So, in the beginning of my classes, because my classes are all movement, right? But they're cognitively challenging movement, which is very different than just, hey, go tell your kid to run between two trees, right? Burn that energy off so they can learn. The movement in my class, we start off with a warm-up, and then we get into the skill, and then we bring it together with a character word, lesson, and then we finish with a physical game that works on one of the skills we're working on. It may be a physical skill, it may be more of a mental skill like focus, but I bring them together, right? So what I have learned is, if I don't do the warm-up, and the warm-up is not just, hey, run in place, right? The warm-up is something that's bringing it together. Mm-hmm. When I do the warm-up, then when we get to the skill, I do notice that they absorb it better. If I skip the warm-up and, say I've been training a teacher or whatever, and they try to go straight to the skill, I'm like, no, that warm-up is important. So it's not just the movement matters, but the type of movement matters most of all. And what's unfolding in my studying, in my dissertation, is that cognitively challenging movement is the movement that you want. So it's not just running, it's not just, a particular sport. It has to be something that challenges their executive functions without getting too, I don't want this to get too technical right now, but it has to make them think while they move.
It's like tapping your head and rubbing your belly.
Yeah, the more they think, the more they have to think, the better it is.
I guess what I'm hung up about is you're learning this early childhood education.
Yeah.
But all the educators should have learned this too.
Oh.
But
yeah.
Why is this new stuff that's coming out and all these old people are doing an old way of like, oh, just sit and don't do this. But if you're learning this now, why aren't all the other teachers doing this in the world?
Well, I can tell you why the U.S. teachers aren't doing this. And
this is being taught in the U.S.
I have all of the empathy in the world for the teachers in our country, because they are so stressed now with trying to meet standardized testing that they literally don't have time for anything else. I know personally from when my kids were in school, there are a lot of teachers that the actual learning in the classroom has gone out. All they're doing, I call it teaching to the test. They're teaching them how to answer the questions on that test. And their kids are practicing answering. There's not a lot of actual learning and absorbing going on. But it's not the teacher's fault. We started out where, everybody knows about our history. We were trying to make good little factory workers. So we took the movement away from the classroom, and we were like, sit still, because on a factory line, you got to stand still for 12 hours a day. But it's gotten worse and worse. Like our time when we were younger, we had gym, right? We had gym, we had art, we had all these things. We had recess twice a day. So they started taking away, remember they started putting gym on a numbered scale, and then sometimes kids wouldn't even have gym once a week. Then they started taking away recesses. Like, okay, only one recess a day. Okay, now recess is not 45 minutes, it's 30 minutes, it's 20 minutes, it's 15. Like, they take the movement away to cram more and more and more learning. But even, I know when I was practicing piano and guitar, it was like, the studies show that you could practice longer because you love it, but anything after 10 minutes, your brain is already loaded up and it can't take anymore. So 10 minutes is the optimal amount to practice. So, we're taking it all away in the name of more learning, but, and this is my whole lane, we are taking the thing away that actually can increase the learning. And, it's like we've separated them. That's what that video was about. We've separated learning from movement, right? But kids don't separate learning from movement. Kids organize things through their body. That's how they learn. And so some of the kids who have challenges in that, those are the ones who are in OT and PT. That's why you see a lot of things that, we see in class, is because that pathway has been interrupted somehow. But kids learn through their body. We keep taking things away that help them move, which helps them learn. No wonder U.S. is behind the entire rest of the world in our test scores. We're not, as a developed nation, as developed as we are, we're nowhere where we should be. The countries that are most ahead in this thought process are the Scandinavian countries, especially Finland, which is kind of funny to me because they're cold. So how much time they really get outside, but they're outside all the time. It doesn't matter, the temperature. They understand that all of this structure is actually killing the learning. And so they're really good at giving kids a lot of breaks, giving them a lot of free time, a lot of outside time, and they know how to combine them. And that's what my whole process is, and that's what my dissertation is going to be. It's especially I have to focus in on one thing, and the one thing I'm going to focus in on is inhibitory control, self-control, right? Because that's what we get asked for the most, and that's the basis of everything. But yeah, teachers really don't have the choice that they should have, how to organize their classroom and facilitate that learning, because they're so locked into state standards and standardized testing and all this stuff.